It's really impossible to overstate the importance of Kodak to the history, the present, and the future of film photography. I think it's pretty safe to say that without Kodak and their support of film photography, the whole thing comes crashing down, especially as it relates to color film photography. Over the past few years, we've seen Fuji continually step away. They were the other major film manufacturer that had quite a few color films on the market. Now it's really just Kodak. Of course, there are several role players on the market that are still contributing to color film photography. Harman, Orwo, Lomography, those guys. But Kodak is the straw that stirs the drink. Portra, Ektar, all their stuff, it's what most of us know and love at this point. So it was with that background that over the past week, I was surprised when I saw the headline that Kodak was stopping film production. Let's get into it. According to Cosmo Photo, Eastman Kodak has temporarily paused all film production in order to make improvements to the film production line at its factory in Rochester, New York. This announcement came from Eastman Kodak's CEO, Jim Continenza, during the Q3 2024 quarterly earnings call last week, and that was on the 13th of November. So this is pretty late breaking news, and there are a couple things that are worth talking about in that statement. The first and most obvious thing to point out before we all slip into a meltdown is that this pause is temporary. Continenza went on to say this: "Our film sales have increased on motion picture and in still film and other films. So on film, right, we're doing a shutdown in November, total shutdown." Continenza said, "We've continued to invest in our manufacturing process while we need to shut down completely to bring light into the dark, right? Film is made in the dark." I don't know what he means by that, but the idea that they're shutting down the film production lines to actually improve efficiency, to bring improvements to the line, I think that's really encouraging. It shows that Kodak is continuing to invest in film photography, and if they weren't serious about the future, why would they be doing that? But let's look at what else he said. "So in November, we'll be modernizing the plant, putting more investment within that, which has also cost us to use more cash in the quarter to build up inventories while we do this." I think really what he's trying to do with that statement is to kind of set the expectations for the shareholders, but also try to set expectations for us film photographers and anybody who uses Kodak's products that, there may be a lull, but they have been provisioning for this. Basically what he's saying is that Kodak has been planning for this, so they've built up supply, they've built up inventory so that they can get through this period and have supply to last while the film production plant is shut down. And another thing to remember while we talk about Kodak shutting down their film plant, let's look at this headline. It was just last year that we had a statement from Continenza that said that Kodak was committed to continuing to produce film as long as there's demand from filmmakers and photographers worldwide. So at least as of that statement last year, according to Continenza, the future of film photography was still pretty rosy. Obviously, there are those of us out there that are still shooting. Every year you can go to Kodak's website and see the films that are shot on Kodak motion picture film. Seems like there's still pretty good demand right now, and maybe that demand is even still increasing. So all that's good. And for Kodak to come out and say that they're going to continue supplying film products as long as there's demand, it's good news. And another headline that it's important to consider as we think about that is if we can all think back to 2022 when Kodak went on a hiring spree, hiring dozens of film technicians, and so that they were able to continue to meet the demand of photographers. Continenza said this: "I was just up in Rochester and we have a massive, large apprentice program, 4 years of training and learning and dedication," Continenza said. "And watching them graduate and come into our workforce full-time, highly skilled, I'm so proud of them that they've made it through because it's a hard thing to do as we continue to increase jobs." So what they're doing is they're preparing for the future. They see the film photography, motion picture film demand continuing to increase. They're making sure that they've got workers who know what in the heck they're doing at Kodak's plants. So really good. Back in 2020, Eastman Kodak said that the demand for film had increased twofold from 2015 to 2019, and I think that demand has continued to increase even since then. So it's the part in the video where we try to put it all together and talk about what all this means for our beloved hobby of film photography. Well, I think despite the scary headline of Kodak pausing film production, I think on balance, it's actually a pretty optimistic story. It paints a pretty rosy picture for the future of film photography. Kodak is a publicly traded company, and they're beholden to their shareholders. And I think that if Kodak wasn't optimistic about the future of film photography or motion picture film as well, I'm habit of saying film photography. Obviously, there are folks that make movies with Kodak film as well. I think if Kodak were to look to the future and they saw nothing but gloom and doom, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to continue to invest in these things. But I think what most of us Kodak film users have in mind, though, we want to see new products. We want to see advancement. God forbid, the prices of film photography products actually went down. I know that's probably a pipe dream at this point, but at least it would be cool to get a new product every once in a while. But I think the fact that Kodak continues to invest in film is really a good thing for us. I'm gonna be honest, guys, over the past few months, I've become a little more pessimistic about where things are going with film photography. And there are a couple of reasons why. For the past couple of years, we've had big things on the horizon that we've been looking for. You know, the announcement of Harman Phoenix was a huge shot in the arm for film photography. We're all excited to see that on the way. And there were also promising new cameras that were being developed. All of us were waiting with bated breath as we watched Pentax continue to develop the Pentax 17. Well, we've got the Pentax 17. We were all really excited about the Rollei 35 AF. Well, now we've got the Rollei 35 AF. And at this point, there just isn't that much on the horizon. Maybe Kodak investing a little more money on the film production front might be the shot in the arm that we need to get some new products out of Kodak. And if that's the case, that would be really awesome. But let me know in the comments what you think about this news. Are you excited that Kodak is continuing to invest in film? Otherwise, take a look at this video where I talk about some of the new film stocks that we got last year. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.